Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Welcome to another exciting session on fundamentals of cybersecurity. First, I would like to thank TDRA for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts with you. So it's going to be a 1 hour session and it is live online. You are more than welcome to ask questions and the level is for beginners. My name is Tausif Latif. I'm a consultant engineer with 19 years of experience in the field of ICT, primarily dealing with providing solutions, services, training, and audits. So I'm primarily rendering my services to financial institutes, armed forces, telcos, utilities, and oil and gas. I did my engineering almost 19 years ago in electrical domain, and so far I have conducted more than 200 trainings. I have 40 plus certifications and accreditations from different brands like Cisco, Juniper, Microsoft, Huawei, and some vendor neutral certifications like PMP, CISA, CISM, CISSP, and ITIL. So this is something that I do in the field. I do trainings, I do workshops, seminars, doing online deployments as well, starting from routing switching, security, wireless, to high-end software-defined networks, and nowadays 5G as well. So there are three learning outcomes for today's session. First, we'll be talking about the fundamentals of cybersecurity. So then you are going to give you a perspective why cybersecurity is so much important thing that everybody, even from personal perspective to government sector, everybody is running after it. And it's going to give you a basic foundation for additional learning in this domain. So in today's session, inshallah, we are going to discuss these 8 core topics. First, we'll start what is cybersecurity and why we need cybersecurity and what is the role of cybersecurity in information and communication technology and operations technology. Then we are going to see what's going around in the world, in UAE as well, in terms of digital transformation. Then we are going to discuss some of the fundamental concepts like what is CIA, what is AAA, and what is IAM. Then we are inshallah going to discuss the role of people, process, and technology and cybersecurity. Then we are going to have a detailed discussion on the current threat landscape. Then the last we'll be talking about the cyber hygiene, right? And then we are inshallah going to have a 10-minute session for question and answer. So what is cybersecurity? So cybersecurity refers to a set of technologies, products. When we say product, it means all the hardware and the software or the apps. Third, processes. Fourth, practices. Designed to protect information, networks, devices, and programs from attack, damage, or unauthorized access. So cybersecurity primarily is dealing to protect our assets, our network, our devices, and our information from damage or unauthorized access. So this is the set of technologies you can say. So cybersecurity is applied at logical and at physical level, right? So it's not only about a software or set of antivirus software that we want to use. So when we talk about cybersecurity, it includes all the logical layer through which information passes and the physical security, starting from the security gate to the access control of the data center, how people are moving into an ICT facility. This all comes under cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is also known as InfoSec, information security, or information technology security. So almost 10 years back, everybody used to talk about InfoSec only, right? But recently, we can say 5 years back, this is terminology cybersecurity is considered as an umbrella under which all this information security, network security, and other aspects jump in. So we had a session like probably last week, and it was about the network security. So network security, application security, all comes under the umbrella of cybersecurity, right? So the question that comes normally in the world, why we need cybersecurity? So when we go in the field, we talk to the end customers. Some are of the opinion that if we don't have internet, do we need cybersecurity, right? Or we are a small organization, right? Why we need cybersecurity for that matter? People think that cybersecurity is only for mega universities or mega enterprise customers or only for the government entity. But this is not the case. Cybersecurity deals with all walks of life. So why we need cybersecurity? Because ultimately we need a happy life. When we say we need a happy life, so happiness comes through a comfort. We want to get in comfort. We want to have peace of mind. We want to have good health. We want to have respect in the market. We want recognition, fame, success, authority. We want to spend time having fun with family, friends. We want to have adventurous life, but we want safety, right? We want money, we want business, we want job, we get happiness by helping others. Now these are the common traits which a normal human wants, right? Now the opposite of this one is fear or threat. So the loss of happiness can be called fear or threat. So example would be, what if someone steals my money or harm me or compromise on my privacy, right? So these are the threats that every human face, right? Regardless of the organization, regardless of gender, culture. So everybody has some sense of fear and threat, right? And this is the sense that keeps us protected. Now, what is risk? So the probability of something bad to happen or possibility of a fear to be materialized is called risk. Now remember this statement. Cybersecurity is all about risk management. It's not only about having an antivirus software or having an access control device or a firewall or a security router. These are the components. Cybersecurity or security in general is all about risk management. So what does that mean? It means that if I have a purse, right, and someone asks you, okay, I have to provide security for this purse. Now the first question would be, sir, what's inside? If I have gold or diamonds in the bag, okay, I need lots of security. But if I have some cookies or biscuits or chocolates, probably I don't need any security as such, right? So it all depends that what is inside the box or a purse, or in other words, my asset. So if the value of my asset is high, it is valuable, I am going to give it some security. If it is not, then we don't need security for that matter. Now, if it has consider an environment where we say we have diamonds or we have gold or something precious in the purse, right? In that case, what are the threats? A threat might be someone might steal it, someone might damage it, or I might lost it, right? So this is called the risk. Probability of something going wrong, right? It's going to hit our happiness. So in terms of technology in cybersecurity, it's all about risk management. So if you have a very valuable information, it can be a data file or a video file or a voice file, information regarding your business, information regarding about a secret recipe, any of the information. It's all about how you are going to protect it, right? What are the threat factors that can apply on that information, right? So remember this statement that cybersecurity is all about risk management. Now in the coming slides, we are going to further clarify this concept. Now, when we say ICT, information and communication technology, so the first thing is the information itself. That includes data, video, and voice, right? So these are normally referred to as data nowadays. So when you say we have a data network, so primarily it includes voice and video. Now, in order to access this information, to play with this information, to create new information, we need some software applications. For example, Zoom for video conferencing, Word, Excel. For ERPs, we have Oracle, we have SAP. In social platforms, we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, right? So these are different software applications that we have. Now, these software applications need some operating system, right? So it can be Windows or Mac or Android for any of the smart machine. Now, these operating systems further need some hardware. So this hardware can be on premises or it can be on cloud. Hardwares are further categorized into these four important categories. First, the end computing devices like PCs, or you have laptops or smartphones. So these are all the end computing devices, right? Remember, we use these devices to get information through an operating system, through some software applications. Then we need some communication media. So it can be a wired network based on copper cable, or it can be wireless. Like we have Wi-Fi, we have nowadays 5G and so on. And in order to give connectivity, we have some networking and security devices, right? Like routers or routers, whatever you pronounce. We have switches, we have wireless access points, we have firewalls, all those components. And all of this information is going to reside on some servers and some storage. Now, the first four components, we call them information technology. Now, how to use this technology, how to use these devices, what should be allowed, what should be forbidden, these depend on the policies and procedures. And we have some standards, governance models, and compliance requirements. Now remember, all these things are for humans, they are made normally by humans, and they are being consumed by humans. Although we have a role of artificial intelligence, but the ultimate source would be the human resource and the underlying business needs. Now this is the complete setup what an ICT is all about. All of your 3G, 4G, 5G are relying under communication media. Now what about cybersecurity? So if you start from point A, point number one, we have to secure our information. We don't want outsiders to maneuver our information. We want only legitimate users, authorized users to access our information, right? We want our softwares to be protected and all the information that is being processed or accessed via these applications. We want to protect our operating system. So sometimes you have virus attack or a worm attack or a cyber attack, right? Your Windows or the operating system becomes corrupted, right? And it's a very common scenario that where you lose your information, someone has deleted this information, or you had an attack of ransomware where someone encrypts your information and then asks for money in terms of Bitcoin or whatever. Then we want to protect our devices as well. So if there is an attack on the servers, we are nowhere. If someone has attacked on our storage, it means most of our information will be lost, right? Similarly, we want to protect human life. It's not only about technology. What matters most is the human life. So we have to provide security to human resource as well, and ultimately to business needs as well. So in nutshell, cybersecurity is applicable to all domains of information and communication technology, right? Okay, so what's the role of security in OT and IT? Now, most of us, we are very much familiar with this word, information technology or information and communication technology. But there is another dimension which consists of a very large market segment. We call it operations technology. So all of your SCADA, automation, wearables, the IoT stuff, Internet of Things, sensors, data aggregation, this all stuff is in the operations technology. So you talk about oil and gas, you talk about manufacturing industry, so OT is there. Now cybersecurity is not only dealing with the routers or the firewalls or the PCs or the switches, it is also going to work on the operations technology. Now, because in the last slide, we said all aspects of technology flow, starting from information ultimately to our business needs. We need security. We want to protect our information. We want to make sure that the confidentiality is being maintained, integrity is maintained, and it is highly available. So cybersecurity is very much in OT as well. Even nowadays, there is a big gap in the market. Lots of opportunities are there because people know how to implement cybersecurity features in IT, right? And I believe the ratio is like 1 to 100. So if you get 100 professionals who know how to secure an IT environment, we only have 1% people who know how to give proper security in operations technology, right? So they have some different environments. Like for example, in IT, we are using IP as a protocol. In OT, like for SCADA, we will be using Modbus. We might be using DNP3 and so on, right? And nowadays with IoT, Internet of Things and Internet of Vehicles, all these devices need security. And practically speaking, this is the most vulnerable area. So when I use the word vulnerable, it means these systems have some backdoors. They have some inherent insecurities, right? There are some areas where a normal hacker can jump in, they can destroy these devices, they can maneuver the information that you get from the devices. So take this word that cybersecurity is as important in IT as it is in operations technology. Okay. Now, another good aspect is the role of cybersecurity in digital transformation. Everywhere we are talking about digital transformation these days, right? If you visit any company website, 70% chances are there they have mentioned on their website, regardless of the industry. You talk about mining, you talk about oil and gas, you talk about medical facility, you talk about telecom sector. Everybody is saying we are going becoming a digital organization. We are having a digital transformation. You look at the profiles in on LinkedIn, right? You see all the senior guys nowadays, people are talking about digital transformation. So digital transformation starts from a point where you are putting things on a computer to a level where you are using technology, you are using a communication platform. For example, in technology, we might be using artificial intelligence, cloud computing. We are having 5G as a technology. We have software defined networks and so on. In communication, once again, we have 5G, we have Wi-Fi, we have fiber, GPON, and all that stuff. Then we have data. We talk about big data, right? So we have with us coupled with artificial intelligence. Then we have Internet of Things, followed by Internet of Vehicles and Bank of Things and so on. We talk about automation, right? That we have been talking about, where we have Industry 4.0 standard. We have Apparel 4.0, right? Where you are having manless factories. We are not talking about autonomous cars only. We are talking about autonomous factories, right? Then we have artificial intelligence as a separate one and the networking. So all of these, our routers, switches, firewalls, all come under networking. So we use technology to ultimately having us go for a digital transformation. Now, cybersecurity is in part and parcel of every aspect of this one. In technology, we talk about security, whether it is cloud, whether it is 5G, this is software defined networks, security is there. You talk about communication, we want to have encryption. We want only legitimate users to access our information, security. For data, definitely everybody knows that we want to keep our information safe and secure. Okay. Internet of Things, security, automation, we need security, AI. So you talk about any of the technology vertical nowadays, cybersecurity is part and parcel. Okay. So let's have a look what's going around in UAE. So we have Abu Dhabi Digital Authority. Yesterday we got this information on the social media that Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid from Dubai, he has established Dubai Digital Authority. So all the digital authorities right now in Dubai are going to be under this new authority. So it's not only about having cybersecurity a concern for Western countries. It is very much in the Middle East as well. If you talk about UAE in specific, so starting from government authorities, we have Abu Dhabi Digital Authority, we now have Dubai Digital Authority, and moving on to corporate sector, to production areas, to factories, to armed forces. Wherever you have information, right, you need security to protect it, right? That's the bottom line, right? So if the government is so much serious about these digital initiatives, it means cybersecurity is going to be among the top skill set required in the industry. So if I took this snapshot from their official website, so when we talk about governance, what's going out in the government, in the ecosystem, cybersecurity is very much over there. So safeguard the government digital infrastructure, systems, and data. So wherever you have the information, starting from government sector to a user named Tosif with a smartphone where I have some pictures, I have some videos, I have my emails on that one. I need security to protect it. So cybersecurity is not only about securing an infra network, it's all about providing security to network, to devices, to humans, and to society as well. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the other fundamental concepts, right? That what makes a system secure. So in 1977, there was a NIST publication. NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's a US-based organization. So they had released a publication where they introduced the concept of CIA, right, as a clear and simple way to describe key security goals in year 1977. So it's not something new. However, because the dependency of the technology has increased so much, every aspect of life is touched by this concept. So that's why nowadays cybersecurity is far more important. Now, three basic components from cybersecurity. So if someone asks you, what is cybersecurity? What do you mean by giving protection? And it's only about securing it, or what does practically it mean? So there are three aspects to this one: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Right? So what is confidentiality? So confidentiality means that information is available to authorized or legitimate users only. So it means this information will be kept secret. Nobody is going to have access to this information unless and until he or she or a system is authorized to have this one. So if I have an email, I don't want anybody else to look at this email, and it should be only visible to my boss or my CEO, for example, or my customer, then say it is a confidential one. So normally when we talk about confidentiality, we are normally talking about encryption, right? People must be talking nowadays about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So the first thing is this is encrypted. Encrypted means this information cannot be seen or read by any other one other than the one that I have authorized. So the first aspect of cybersecurity is confidentiality. We have to make sure that our information is confidential, right? Privacy is maintained. Second comes integrity. For example, you put your money in a bank, right? You open an account and you start saving your money over there. So for example, you had a saving of say $100,000, I wish so, in a year. And after 3 months or after 1 year, you visit the bank and banker says, sorry, sir, it was just 10,000, not 100,000. You say, how come? I have the checkbook. They say, no, sir, you can check the account. It's only 10,000. So integrity means that protection of information from deletion or modification from any unauthorized access, and allowing only authorized access to modify the information. So probably someone has modified the information. They have taken 90,000 out of my account. I don't know. For example, you had an email and somebody deletes it. Somebody modifies it, right? You send an email, somebody had the man in the middle attack and they took the information out and replaced it with something else. Let's take a layman example. You sent me a box of chocolates, right? With hundreds of 100 chocolates in them, with a small, beautiful perfume. And when it arrives through the delivery boy, what happens, I only get 10 chocolates without a perfume. So someone in the middle has something done wrong, and he or she has taken my chocolates. So similarly, in an information and communication platform, if someone has changed the records, right? You do go to a company and say, okay, you have to pay me $10,000. And he said, no, on the receipt, you can say it's just $1,000. Someone has logged into a system and they has hacked. So integrity means that whatever the information that you have, right, it is intact, it is not deleted, it is not modified or maneuvered by any unauthorized user, right? And the last aspect, which is normally ignored or not taken care by the technical team, People are always focusing on confidentiality. We want to protect our information. We don't want it to be disclosed. We want to have integrity in our system. We don't want any unauthorized changes in our system. But most of the times, the aspect that our technical people forget is the availability. At the end of the day, we have to provide this information to authorized users. If information is not being provided, it means we have compromised on a very important pillar, that is availability. So availability means that information is accessible and available at any point in time to an authorized user. For example, you go to a bank and bank says, sorry sir, for next 1 year you cannot access your account. I said, why? He said, okay, because there were some security threats. So we thought because there are some thieves and gangsters out there, so we thought that why don't we protect your money? I said, okay, fine, you protect my money, but I need some from my education or from my any hospital expense, or about I want to buy a car. He said, no, no, sir. It is available with us. You can see on the bank receipt, we have $100,000 available in your account, but for next 1 year, sorry, sir, you cannot access it. I said, come on, just give it to me. So remember, from the perspective of information communication technology, cybersecurity puts lots of focus on the availability. Now, a common question would be, sir, how we provide availability? So I go back to this slide. So if I want to have availability, I have to make sure that I have redundant servers. I have redundant storage. So from cyber attack, if a server goes off, I have a backup server. I want to have lots of networking devices. Instead of having a single router, let's have two routers. Instead of having a single wireless access point, let's have two of them. If your data center, the local data center is compromised, so let's have some cloud services and so on. So availability is primarily provided by providing redundancy, right? By providing high availability, by providing fault tolerance. So the takeaway for today's session, one big one is CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So when in practical life we deploy networks, we provide consulting services. So the first thing that we do is to describe CIA. Then we have to decide what to do under the umbrella of confidentiality, how we are going to make sure that our information is protected. We do encryption. You must have heard about a technology called VPN, virtual private networks, right? So we create a VPN to make sure nobody in the middle can sniff our information, right? So we code it in a way. For integrity, we make sure we use hash. So must have heard the word hash. So we use hashing algorithms like SHA-256 to make sure we have integrity in our system. And then comes availability. So availability means you can have redundant links. So instead of having a single internet connection, I need two or three of them, right? For example, we are having this live training on cybersecurity. In order to make sure there is no disruptions and we have continuity of service, I cannot just rely on a single internet. I need to have 2-3 internets with the load balancers, right? So all these things come up to a point where we say that cybersecurity needs CIA. Okay, the opposite of CIA is DID. So in case of confidentiality, if it is compromised, it means we are giving it a disclosure. We are disclosing the information, right? For example, for a health project. So all of your private information, all of your health history, right? It becomes public. Someone puts it on the Facebook. You are having your personal life in home. Someone takes the picture and put it on the internet, right? This is a disclosure. Just think about like KFC, or you have whatever the brand that you like in your area. For example, KFC, if they have the secret recipe and it is disclosed, it becomes public, all the recipe making methodology is being shown to the world, okay, we are going to have a big business loss. Second, opposite of integrity is alteration. Somebody changed my logs, somebody deletes or modifies my videos, or changes my data, or change my email, right? A big threat. And the opposite of availability is destruction, right? So there may be a situation that your information is very much confidential, Okay, we have a machine with a laptop, we have with a CPU, with a hard disk. So in my hard disk, all of my pictures, my videos, my official data, all is protected. Fine. It is not changed, but just think of that it is disconnected from the network, right? And all of the people are sitting over here trying to access this application over the internet. If this link is down, or this router is down, right, or a switch is down, so it means this information is not available, right? So we got to be very careful when we design an infrastructure, as small to a cafe network, to a university, to a telco, or an armed forces. We have to make sure that we are providing confidentiality, integrity, and availability to the end user. Okay. Now, there's another important aspect when we say CIA in cybersecurity. The next thing would be, sir, you have been talking about authorized users, right? We have been talking about legitimate users, right? So how we make sure that who is the right guy? So the first thing that we do is the authentication, right? So for example, you go to your university or a college or your office, right? So you have a biometric access system, or when you log in on your laptop, it asks for the login and a password. Typically, otherwise you might be having none, but most of the times in a practical environment, when you log into a system through a laptop or a smartphone, it asks you for a login and password. So this is called authentication. That you are authenticating that who is the right guy. Now it can be only through login or password, or it can be through a biometric access system, right? By using your thumb, or it can be through eye scanner or RFID card, right? That we use for attendance, for example. So the first thing when you enter an information and communication technology system, first we do authentication. So it can be based on login password or your biometric thumb or your eye scanning or RFID, whatever, right? So once you are authenticated, then we are going to decide what you are allowed to do. So this is called authorization. Okay, so if I am conducting this training on behalf of TDRA on cybersecurity, so I was first authenticated, then I was authorized to teach this course. But it might be a situation that I said, okay, I'm going to share my knowledge for cybersecurity, and instead of cybersecurity, I start teaching you economics. So there must be some people for quality assurance. They should know that what I'm teaching now. So this is called accounting. So I've been authenticated. I am authorized to teach or share my thoughts, but there is an accounting process at the bank. Someone is keeping an eye on me. We are collecting logs. Who jumped in, who did what, and he or she was authorized to do this or not, right? So that's it. So in case of technology, you log in into a system, you pass through authentications. Once you are authenticated, you go to an authorization level where you are given rights, access rights, right? So as a director of a company, I might be having access rights to lots of space in my office. There might be a situation that we have an internal engineer, and that internal engineer might have limited access to a particular room only. So when I log in into Facebook, for example, so I have access to lots of thousands and millions of pages and my account, right? I can't have full access of your account. This is called authorization. And in order to make sure that I am doing the right stuff and no hacker or a bad guy is trying to do something wrong, we have a system or accounting, right? Where you are held accountable for all the tasks, right? So in cybersecurity, apart from CIA, we need to have a very rigorous system, a structured methodology to make sure that we don't bypass any of the stuff, right? There has been a report that 37% of the cyber attacks in the enterprise market are primarily because of the internal employees. So sometimes internal employees are not happy. We have disgruntled employees. They are up to something wrong. So they are authenticated, they are authorized, but they are doing something bad. They are stealing our information. They are modifying the information without proper approval. So you need to have some accounting servers, log servers, where we have the logs of all the activities you do. Like for example, if bad stuff, you know what, bad stuff is banned on internet in UAE, right? And it should be. Now, if someone tries to use a proxy server or some other way to access some websites which are morally corrupt, so we have a system in place. First thing is it will be blocked. Even if you try to bypass, so we have some accounting servers, we have log servers through which the government or an ISP can see who is having an access to which website. Similarly, in enterprise networks, the IT team or the information team, they keep record of how many websites, which website you are visiting, and which type of content you are following, right? Now, another aspect is identity and access management. Now, if I want to give you some authorization code or I want to give you some access, so I need to know who you are. So example, if I am a trainer, so you're going to make my login, right? And I will be given access to all the training material, for example. So so this is called identity and access management. So this is where your relationship starts. I was hired or my services were taken. I was given an identity. Okay, my identity is that I'm Tausif, and in this training, I'm working as a trainer. Okay, so based on my profile, I am provisioned with some authentication, with some self-service. I can create my login, I can change my password. And as I move on, for example, for example, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I become part of the management team. So once I am the management team, so my trainer access rights will be taken out and new rights will be given, right? So this keeps on moving till I end up either by ending up this relation, I change my job, I change my business, I leave this planet Earth, whatever. So this is called identity and access management. So we give based on the identity, whether you are a staff employee, you are a nurse, you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are a general manager or CEO, or you are CFO, whatever the role is, based on your role, we are going to authorize you to do certain tasks, right? And once this role is finished, you retire, you change the job, you do something else. So this relationship ends. Practically speaking, we see lots of issues that we have lots of logins in the network, but when someone ends up the relation, they keep this logging for several years, right? And sometimes it is being misused. So from the cybersecurity perspective, we say we have confidentiality, integrity, and availability. How we do it? By authenticating, authorizing, and doing the accounting. How we give authentication, how we authorize, right? And who is going to account for? Do you think everybody in an organization is going to do the accounting? No, right? So this is called IAM, identity and access management. So I'm just giving you some food of thought, how things and what are the components of a cybersecurity system, right? I won't be talking about the router, firewalls, or IPS, right? I'm talking about the generic concepts, right? Now, this is something funny that, okay, so we have in this corner, we have firewalls, encryption, antivirus softwares, and this corner, we have Dave, human error, right? So 63% of the issues that we face in the enterprise in terms of cybersecurity issues is because of human error. We don't keep our passwords secret. We make them very simple. Most of the times people tell their password to other people, right? So we have to, it's not only about the technology or the process or the brand that you have purchased. It's also about the human factor. So that's why we say PPT, people, process, and technology. You cannot deploy technology effectively without competent people supporting processes or overall plan. So you need to give awareness to the people. So how to train people? You give to give them awareness sessions. Like for example, the purpose of the training. This training is to give you an awareness, to give you an idea what cybersecurity is all about. Based on that, you can make your career, you can advance your career, you can flourish your professional career by going for certifications and qualifications. And then you need adequate resources as well, qualified people, people who are intelligent, who know security, right? And of course we need to have processes, governance models, best practice, and audits, right? So the theme is cybersecurity is not only about technology that most of us think. It's about technology coupled with people. And what's your process? So the process would be, okay, you are going to use a very top quality lock, and it's a digital one. Okay, fine. But if you keep it open, right? It is a very good quality, but if it is open, right? So what will be the use? So there should be a good process. There should be a good governance model. And at the end of the day, people should know how to use it, right? So this is very important in terms of cybersecurity. Now, the second last topic is cybersecurity threat landscape, right? So that landscape, as we know that, for example, we have a green landscape outside an organization, you have plants and it looks nice. So there are about 15 top cyber threat landscape for 2021, right? Although it's primarily for 2020 and it has entered, and probably by next year, 2022 January, we are going to have the latest for 2021. So first thing, the number one is the malware. So we have virus, we have worms, we have, so this is a typical trend. And it's a routine one. This has been in the industry from several years and it's keep on moving on. So number one is malware. Most of the people from end user perspective, they have issues with the malware. We have virus, right? We have worms, our system is slow. Second is web-based attacks, right? And the trend is going up, right? Because more and more people are going digital, they are going on internet. Now, especially in case of BC and AC, it used to be before Christ and after Christ, but now this terminology is also being used like before Corona and after Corona. So now we say, okay, in after Corona phase, people are very much working from home and they are dependent on websites. Your education is online, right? So web-based attacks is trending right now. Then web application attacks, right? Your applications are being attacked and the trend is up. Then you have phishing, right? Where you get phishing emails, right? Where you're getting disguised emails, right? Nobody has sent you an email, but you get an copied or altered email from Citibank or from any organization, right? And you click on that, you think it is legitimate, and it takes you to a bad site or a virus site. Again, the trend is high. Then you get lots of spam, right? Remember, spam is just create nuisance, right? It delays, it just fills your email box or SMSs with useless stuff, right? But as far as phishing is concerned, it actually gives an harm. It can take you to a fake Facebook page. It can take you up to a fake Citibank page, and you can give your login and you are hacked. But still, spam is a big concern, and it's getting higher and higher. Then denial of service. You try to access an application, then there is a DOS attack or distributor denial of service attack, and that service is not available, right? Ransomware. This is getting very high, right? In my recent past, we have provided services to almost 4 top companies in a country, and they were all attacked by ransomware. We know some government entities and banks where people have sold their jewelry, their gold, just to pay for the ransom, right? Because they didn't want their management to know. Ransomware is on the highest side, right? So in ransomware, what happens? Someone logs into your system, they encrypt your files, and then they ask you, okay, we can decrypt them, and in return, you have to pay a ransom in terms of bitcoins or any other way, right? or you have to delete all of your data. And it's not only about deletion. They can, because they have the access, they can put it on the websites, they can put it on the social media. We have botnets with us, right? You log onto a system where a robot is talking to you, and that robot, right, a set of machines which are working together, and then they can steal your information, right? So we have botnets. Inside threat that I have to, and it has been in the market and it's moving on like routine one, right? So nowadays we talk about zero trust environment. So in case of zero trust environment, we don't trust anybody. So we have to make sure that whatever you do, wherever the information is being placed, it is protected by everybody, just equal to a corona. So when you talk about safety, it doesn't mean that corona will be spread only through outsiders. It can spread through family members as well. So like in case of corona environment, right? Everybody was so careful that people say that we haven't hugged our mother from last 1 year because we are concerned, because we are going to the office and they are staying in home. So we might be a carrier. So similarly in cybersecurity, we have to protect our environment, our router, our devices, our information from everybody, right? Only legitimate users are allowed to access. Then another threat is physical manipulation, damage, and theft. Someone steals our laptop, someone steals our mobile or the information. Then we have data breaches, right? This is again on the higher side. We have identity theft. Someone stole your identity for Apple, someone stole your Facebook or Twitter, whatever the identity was. Information leakage, some important industry information or military information is leaked. We have exploit kits. They are relatively going on the lower side, right? Primarily used by hackers. And then we have espionage or spying. Someone is in the industry, they logged into your system or your company servers, and they are trying to snatch that information and provide it to their concern. So this is a famous 15-point based cyber threat landscape. Now, the last topic, hygiene. The new term coined, I say, a couple of years back is cyber hygiene. So normally we talk about personal hygiene, right? Right? So hygiene, having a good hygiene is an important aspect. We encourage our children, our elders, our colleagues, everybody. We expect a normal, cultured human needs to be clean, right? In other terms, clean, right? We have to make sure there is no smell, there is nothing bad. Every environment, starting from your personality, your body, to your work area, to your home, to your office, everything should be clean. So this cyber hygiene means that it's a joint precautionary set of measures performed by organization security practitioners, computer system administrators, to help protect from attacks. Just to make sure that you are keeping your mobile, your smartphone, your laptop, it is safe. No information can be leaked out. There are no viruses. So it ensures systems health by enabling practices that continually help prevent cyber criminals from causing security breaches, installing malwares, or stealing personal information. So it's not only about having large set of firewalls at a corporate level. We are talking about cyber hygiene at a user perspective as well. Okay, so having proper cyber hygiene also ensures better incident response. One thing is very important, the last point, that we can't live in a world where we say that we have all the technologies and all the ideal humans and nothing is going to go wrong, because this is against risk management. Remember I said in the start, security management is all about risk management. So there will be some bad guys, there will be some incidences, there will be some outages as well. So you have a server, it burns, right? Or it start malfunctioning. So in all the cases, or you accidentally delete your files, you accidentally delete your pictures or emails. So in all of these cases, we need to have an incident response system. So if something goes wrong, how soon we can get the data back. So it's just like if we have the best doctors, we have the best facilities, it does not mean that nobody is going to get sick. So we have hospitals with us. Similarly, in case of cybersecurity, we need to have an incident response mechanism where if something goes wrong or some attack is successfully occurred, we have to make sure that we get rid of it, or the original data or the information can be restored. For these, we have some do's and don'ts, right, that everybody knows. For example, let's talk about don'ts. So we don't share your password, make them special, don't visit bad websites, don't use VPNs to visit those websites. People think that we can hide our activities. No, you can't. And most of the time, these viruses and worms come from these websites. Don't click on email links unless and until you are sure that is something related to you. If you have some issue, always contact your IT or InfoSec team. Don't open spam emails. Nobody is going to give you $100 million for free. Nobody is going to give you 10 kilograms of gold because your surname and the name mentioned in the email is same. Don't connect to open Wi-Fi unless and until it doesn't ask you for some private account. For example, you go to an airport or some other place, you get a free Wi-Fi, and it asks you to log in through your Facebook account or a Twitter account or an Instagram account. Avoid it. Nothing is, or rather, very few things are free. Don't save passwords on browsers. Now this is very important. Don't be blackmailed by ransomware. If you get a message, okay, we have seen your history, you are a pervert and something like that, don't panic, just contact your IT or InfoSec team, right? And don't try to bypass privacy laws or sharing policy if you're using torrents and stuff. And don't use pirated softwares, okay? Now, that was the don't stuff. Now, from the personal cyber hygiene perspective, what are the do's? You need to trust your IT or InfoSec team just like you trust your doctors and lawyers, but with an open set of open eyes. Just don't blindly follow them because it's us. We are humans. We have different intentions and we have different motives. Keep your devices clean, physical and logical. Take your data backups regularly. Protect your data with passwords. Scan your devices. Use good antivirus and a firewall that you can have on your mobile, on your laptop. Try to use pop-up blockers because this is where most of the spam or fake websites are jumped in. Accept cookies if you only trust them. Prefer to use multi-factor authentication. The example would be if you log in on your Instagram or Twitter or any account. So when you log in, it should send a code to your mobile or email, right? So if someone finds out your email address and login and the password, he or she cannot log in unless it is authenticated again, right? So having multi-factor authentication is highly recommended. And try to visit websites via direct link, right? So it would be like face.com. So you might not see the third O, right? Or sometimes they are using a special character over there. So the page that you are going to land on, it will be just like the Facebook. You give a login and password and boom, you are gone, right? So these are typically from the user's perspective, the cyber hygiene, right? So so that's it. So if I just take you to the first slide over here, cybersecurity is all about the set of technologies, products, processes to make sure that our information, data, video, voice is protected. This information is highly available and it has integrity. We don't want to have any set of maneuvering or any changes without access, right? So we talked about CIA, cybersecurity is very much in the digital transformation. So we have confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We have with us AAA, authentication, authorization, and accounting. We have a system called identity access management. And then we talked about some of the cyber threat landscape. I do understand cybersecurity is a very large domain, right? Has so many verticals. I've been teaching from last 15 years or so. So the theme for having this 1 hour session, it was just to give you an idea what cybersecurity is all about, right? And what aspects are very important, right? To give you a thought process that there are lots of opportunities in terms of jobs, in terms of business, in terms of services. So this is something very good. So now I'm open for the questions. You can ask questions as you like. So I will be happy to answer those one. In the meanwhile, let me take you to this slide as well. So any questions? I'm available. So you can send your questions on the chat. So I will be checking the chat and there I can answer your questions. So remember, cybersecurity covers or is applicable to all aspects of information communication technology, starting from information to software applications to operating system, all the hardware. One common question normally people ask is, sir, why we want to protect our hardware? Because just think of a policeman. So the purpose of a policeman is to provide you security. So first, this policeman is going to wear the steel armored, right? And is going to have a gun to first protect himself, then to others. So that's why we have to protect our hardware as well. So what about browser extensions, right? So normally people are using browser and lots of VPN these code extensions to have access to some applications. Now be careful about it. Now, for example, if you talk about browser, they have a rating in place, right? So you have websites where you can find the rating of a typical website that this extension is okay or not. But don't use these proxy servers to access some banned data because ultimately they try to steal your information. So not all. So all browser extensions are not secure, right? And the easiest way is sometimes you just log in, for example, any VPN security or any extension, and you don't do anything at all. But just look at the DU meter. You will see lots of packets are being sent. Why is it so, right? So they are all not secure. So ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology, right? How to protect myself from the threat? So the best way would be that I have just showed. Focus on do's and don'ts. Keep cyber hygiene. Don't share passwords. Don't use pirated softwares. Don't go to bad websites, right? In case there's a compromise, contact your InfoSec and IT team, right? And this is the thing that you have to do. Scan your device, use antivirus, use firewalls, use pop-up blockers, right? How to links should never be opened as they are website that checks yours. So the good thing would be that we don't open the links unless and until they are very explicit. And if you put a browser on those one, you can see it will show you the exact link as well. In case of ransomware, there are many methods. First, like for example, in Windows, so you have a ransomware protection mechanism. So if someone tries to encrypt or tries to have access to your base files, it's going to give a lock, right? So we have zero trust factors, we have anti-X modules, we have end protection softwares through which you can protect yourself from the ransomware. How do I know if my system is infected with the day zero attack? Day zero attack means that there is no rootkit for that to get solved. Just like coronavirus, because it was new, nobody knew how to handle it. But now, alhamdulillah, after 1 year or so, people now we have the vaccine. So similarly, the first step would be point number 5: scan your device regularly, right? So in that case, if something is bad, if someone has tried to jump into your system, so it can tell you. And always use different devices, not only one software, right? Like for example, we have malware bytes with us. You can use this one to scan your device. We have CCleaner, we have softwares from Symantec, from Palo Alto, we have Sophos scanners as well. Is it necessary to accept cookies on website? Yes. Sometimes, why we need cookies? So cookies are the small, you can save information that is saved on your system, and it takes some information out from your system. For example, what websites you are following, what is your location. So based on these cookies, they give you customized answers. Now, preferably nowadays, we want people not to accept cookies unless and unless you trust a website. So if you go to TDRA dot whatever the extension is it a trusted website? You can trust on that one, right? Otherwise, try avoid accepting those. Or, for example, if you have to accept this for to access a website, later on you can delete those cookies as well. So what if antivirus cannot detect the virus on my system? So there are two ways. One, use different scanners. Now, if I take an example that where these viruses are coming from, so you have internet network or through USB. So if you have end protection system enabled on your device, you can get protected, right? You can use scanners, use multiple scanners, not the only one, right? So this way you can detect this one. Can we detect a virus by activity? Yes. So sometimes what happens is your system start warming up. You see, you listen to lots of noise of your machine. Your system start getting struck, or sometimes you feel that is stealing your information. If you click on the taskbar, from there you can also see how many applications are running in the background. Inshallah, we might be coming up with some low sessions. We'll be talking in specific how to figure out does our system is infected or not, right? So the easiest way is to do regular scanning. Okay. So yes, we can detect a virus by scanning. So okay, is TeamViewer software says yes, it is desktop from third-party websites. And there have been at least I know 4 or 5 incidents in large organizations where the system was corrupted because they downloaded any desk from some third-party website and it had a virus file as well, right? So this system, that virus, and it was considered as the biggest source of ransomware. Nothing wrong is with the AnyDesk. The only challenge is you are getting this AnyDesk from a wrong website where they have inserted a virus when you download the file, right? So by default, TeamViewer is safe, but you can make bad use of the TeamViewer. You have seen almost 6 months back there was a big cyber attack in an water purification industry in USA where this guy used TeamViewer in a bad way and an unauthorized way, I would say. And he was trying to put more sulfur or any other component into the water. So make sure you use this, but with your open eyes. Last question, right? So can attack be traced back if the attacker is using VPN? In that case, the source file. So, for example, you are in UAE and you got an attack from some other XYZ country, right? Even that attacker is using a VPN, you can get the last IP detection. But these hackers are very intelligent. They won't be using this one. They will be using VPNs in hops, right? So it's hard to detect, but if you have an intelligent, fully controlled cybersecurity system, this is very much possible. So okay, so thank you very much. I would like to thank TDRA again for giving me this opportunity. So I wish it was a good session. If you have any questions later on, you are more than welcome to ask. Okay, so thank you very much. That's it from my side. Assalamu alaikum.